What's going on, fam? It's your man, VACAY-J. And yes, we are at episode 5, the recap mid-season finale for Power Book 2 Ghosts, season 2. Now listen, we got a lot to unload, so we're going to get right into this. It was power-packed, a lot of details, so let's break it down right now. So the name of this episode is Coming Home to Roost. And the description reads, Tariq races against the clock for Yasmin, with pressure being placed on Monet from her family and from Mecca. She struggles to wear the Tejada crown and questions whether she has to anymore. All right, so let's get right into this. We see some cats playing some basketball. We see Zeke, he's looking out the window. They playing, Freedom in the background. And he's looking at Monet, Mama Monet, but he doesn't know that's his mama yet. And your boy Davis Mclean is like, listen, we're going to go in here. Don't say anything to anybody on the inside because, they'll rat on you just so they can get out, right? So, of course, Zeke is not feeling good about this, that he feels like he's going to be arrested. Monet's like, listen, whatever happens, I'm going to do everything in my power to get you out. And Zeke is just like, listen, I don't think this is under your control anymore. It's a little too late for all of that because, she's always trying to control his life, right? So we see Tariq, he's waking up, right? It's all good. He's with Lauren or whatever. So he reaches out to Davis and he's like, hey, listen, when are they taking Zeke in? And, it's like Davis says, hey, we're going to take him in right now. We're taking him in right now, right? So, of course, Zeke is like, dang, okay. Because, again, if he goes in, guess what? That messes up Tariq all the way. Lauren comes out, wants to see, what's going on, but he already leaves. Now, Davis Mclean, Monet, Zeke, they go in and they're like, hey, my client's ready to hand himself in. Jenny Sullivan shows up. It's like, oh, Jenny Sullivan's here. What's going on? Well, we're not going to need him anymore. He's no longer a suspect. There's been some, things going on. And he's like, well, what's going on with that? And Zeke is like, I could go. He's like, yeah, you can go. You can go, Zeke. And Davis is like, yo, we want some answers. It's like, well, there's been some new developments and, Whitman cuts off Kamal because Kamal's like, yeah, we don't need you anymore. And he's like, okay, well, Davis Mclean is like, okay, well, listen, I'm going to need a whole press release saying that it was a big mistake and apology and everything else like that. You got to make it look good just so Zeke can have that chance to go get drafted. So she said, okay, we're going to see what we can do. We're going to see what we can do. She's going to make it happen anyway. Again, Whitman, he's just really trying to hang on to try to get Zeke, but he's reaching for nothing. There's nothing popping up at all. Monet's like, see, it all worked out, da-da-da-da. And, Zeke is like, listen, it didn't work out because I'm still, on a hot seat and, these drafts, they're not going to take me. These teams are not going to take me. She's like, listen, it's all going to be straightened out. We're going to let them know that press release is going to come out and you're still going to be good. They're going to want you. They're going to want to talk with you and they're going to want to, have you on the team. So don't even worry about it. She's trying to comfort him, comfort her son, which he doesn't know yet, through all of this that's going on. Now, Kamal is like, listen, you cut me off back there. And he's like, listen, you keep reaching for, Zeke, and Zeke is no longer a suspect. We really need to be looking at Tariq because I've been reading Jabari Reynolds' novel. And he's like, novel, what's that about? And he keeps cutting him off. Kamal's like, listen, let me do my job. Let me explain to you what's going on. This book that Jabari was working on may not be fictional, and it's about, some product being sold on campus. It may be realer than we think it is. So it's something that we need to look into before we go on and keep going on with Zeke and everything else like that. So, he's just like, Whitman, he's really trying to still reach for Zeke, but it is what it is, okay? Now we got Tariq. He's back at the campus, pulling out the strap. Things are heating up. Braden's like, listen, they're on campus. They're doing sweeps, and, some of our customers have been, taken in and all this and that. But Tariq's not paying attention because he's really trying to get Yasmin out. He has that hearing. So he's really trying to get things together so he can get custody of Yasmin. So he's like, listen, man, if the Tejada family comes around, listen, you don't know anything. Don't say anything. Just keep everything to yourself. Don't let them know my business. Don't let them know anything, because, again, he's focused on getting Yasmin out. He's really not focused on anything else right now, right? So he doesn't want anything to mess that up, right? Meanwhile, Professor Milgram, she gets a phone call. And guess who she gets a phone call from? Of course, Mommy Monet. Mama Monet calls her up like, listen, whatever you're trying to do, Zeke got off, so don't worry about it. You know what I mean? So guess what? I want you to stay away from Zeke. You're the reason why he got in trouble. You're the reason why, he's into all of this and got into all of this. So stay away from him. You don't know me. You don't know him. I don't want to see your face. Like Monet is just going in on like, listen, you are just a terrible person, for even like implicating Zeke in this thing. And he had nothing to do with anything. So she's just like, yo, just stay away from the fam or else, right? Or else, right? That's what it is. Now, Professor Milgram gets a knock at her office door. Guess who it is? It's your boy Kamal and Detective Whitman. And they're running up in the spot and they're saying, hey, listen, we need your help. And she's like, listen, I've already helped out. It's not much more that I could do. And he's like, nah, there's much more that you can do. You said that you were law enforcement. We're going to need your help. We're going to really need your help. We have this disk drive here. Listen, it's Jabari Reynolds' novel. And we just need you to read it. We just need you to go over it. And maybe, something will come up. Maybe something, will come to mind as to help us with this case. So he gives her the flash drive. And he's like, yo, just read it for me. Let me know. All right. Just let me know what you think. Okay. So now we at Monet's bar. She's there. And guess who comes through? Your boy Dante. See, when he's with her, I call him Dante, right? When he's with everybody else, I call him Mecca, right? So, they're talking and he's like, why am I here? She's like, I don't trust myself with the hotels and all this and that, right? So you already know how it goes down. So he's like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, just a lot going on with everything and the family and we don't need your money anymore. Zeke got off. We don't have to fight for him anymore. He's like, well, listen, like at some point, I was the hotness, right? But listen, I got something for you. I got something for you and the kids. I want you to have a choice, a choice at life. You don't have to live this life, even though your man is locked up. So he comes with a trust, a living trust for the children, So this way, she says, he's like, listen, you have a choice as to your life, as to, who's going to be your man, right? He's really trying to do everything in his power to get her out of the life, even though he's in the life, right? To get her and the children out of the life with this living trust. And you see Dante Spears is on it, Monet's on it, and all of the kids, not just Zeke. So, of course, she's feeling all of that because it's just another way for her to get out of it. She had a little plan with Zeke, and that could have been messed up, right? Could have been messed up. But, of course, he tries to kiss her, and she's like, nah, come on, stop. It's too much. You're too much right now. This is just a lot. It's just a lot, with a husband being inside and the kids acting up, So, of course, he's giving her the puppy eyes. He's like, whatever you need, just let me know. But you can't do this by yourself. Can't do it by yourself. So she's just like, go, and he leaves. And of course, she's like, man, this is a lot. So now back at the school, you got Lauren. She's like, listen, I've been calling you. What happened? Is everything okay? He's like, yeah, I'm trying to get things together. I need an apartment, for Yaz to get her out. She's like, I want to help. He's like, you don't have to. She's like, I want to. So, she's really going to try to help Tariq get everything established so he can get Yaz out of the foster care. Professor Milgram comes in and she writes on the board, karma. Uh-oh. All right. Remember, she read the flash drive. So now she's talking to everybody. Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about today. And of course, they're like, hey, this is not part of the course. But she's like, yeah, I want to keep you guys on your toes. So she's like, people like, what is karma? And they're explaining. And she's like, Tariq, why don't you enlighten us as to what karma is? So he goes in and, basically whatever you do is going to come back to you. And she's like, yeah, why don't you enlighten us a little bit more? I want you to go a little deeper. Right. And she's really coming at him. Obviously, she read that novel and she probably feels that, yeah, Jabari was talking about Tariq. Right. So she's really trying to go in on him with some subliminal messages on some like, yeah, you're going to get yours for what you did. I think she figured it out based on that novel that she read from Jabari. Wow. Right. She can't say anything. So, Lauren's like, yeah, Professor Milgram really came at you. Right. And then all of a sudden they see Zeke. He's laughing. He's like look like he's happy to be out. Right. And she's like, hey, I thought he would be arrested with it, with that interview being all messed up and botched up. Boom. Guess who shows up? Monet shows up talking about Tariq, come in. want to talk to you. I was like, ah, shoot. Tariq is like, okay. Listen, Lauren, I got to go. I'll call you later about the apartment. We'll talk. So Monet gets Tariq in the car and they're driving. And she's like, yo, listen, bottom line, you lied to me because Kane told me exactly what happened, that you was the one that took out Jabari Reynolds, but you lied to me and said you didn't. How can I trust you at this point? I told you the rules from jump, and you basically broke the rule. And he's like, listen, I don't know what Kane told you, but, it had to be done. Jabari Reynolds was finding out too much, and things had to be done the way it had to be done. But she's just like, listen, you violated. You basically violated and lied to me. You could have just told me the truth, but I don't know who to trust right now. I don't know who to trust right now. So she's like, listen, you can say whatever you want. He's like, listen, Zeke could have went down for that, but he's like, hey, I didn't want anything to go down. So bottom line, she's just like, listen, at the end of the day, Zeke didn't go down, but you still got to prove yourself to me. You got to prove yourself to me and gain my trust again. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to find out who is Kane's connect. The more information you find out, then we're going to be square. You'll gain my respect back. But you need to find out who Kane's connect is. And if I find out that Kane found out something, I know y'all messing around and everything else like that. So she's like, all right, find your way home, right? So they all got cars. Take him out some far place, and he doesn't have a car. So he texts Davis Mclean, can we talk? Of course, he's like, yes. And Tariq is like, no, I got to find a way home. Again, he has no wheels, and he's like, dang, So now, here comes your girl, Milgram, talking to the detectives like, yo, it's about Tariq. The novel is all about Tariq. It's not about Braden, and they're like, well, it's talking about a white dude in there. And it's like, well, she's just convinced it's all about Tariq. She's totally convinced about it. And they're like, well, what about this Braden guy? It could be him. It could be, whatever. So they're going back and forth trying to figure out who it is. But your girl, Milgram, she is spot on to what's going on, but they don't have a way to prove it. And they're like, listen, the only way to prove it is to get Tariq to admit that he knew about the novel. That will be motive for Tariq to take out Jabari Reynolds. So that's something that they got to figure out. All right. So now we got Monet back at a bar and she's talking to Kane. And, basically Kane is like, okay, he's waiting to hear how she just blew up on Tariq. But she's like, listen, I can't trust Tariq. And he was real comfortable lying to me. So I need you to go ahead and find out his weaknesses because I need to control him. The more control I have over him, then this will never happen again, right? So I need you to find out all the information as to what his weakness is. And he's like, listen, you can trust me, ma. Da, da, da. He stayed trying to prove himself to Monet. He's really trying to really get in and be that number 2 guy. But we're going to see what happens, right? So Lauren comes in. She talks to Professor Milgram. She brings that fake Rolex watch, the wire. And she's like, I don't think I could do this anymore. And she's just really, scared about everything. She really doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to be that, rat to rat out her, fellow students. But Professor Milgram's like, listen, I don't know about that. Like, you're going to get in big trouble. But she says, I'm going to tell you this. I've read Jabari Reynolds' novel, and we think it's talking about Braden. It talks about a white guy selling the product on campus. So Lauren's like, listen, I got to protect Tariq. And she's like, I'm going to tell Tariq. And she's like, no, don't do that. Because if you do that, then that'll get you in big trouble. Listen, just, wear the wire. Find out what you can about, who knows about this novel, right? So now we head back to Tariq and Braden's room. And your boy Kane is coming out the bathroom. He's like, hey, listen, don't go in there for 35, 45 minutes. And Braden's like, man, you really got to stop showing up like this. For real. Like, what is going on? He's like, yeah, I paged you. And you didn't answer. You scared or something? What's going on? Guess who shows up at the door, right? Because Braden's like, yeah, Tariq may be with his girlfriend. Guess who shows up? His girlfriend, Lauren. And your boy Kane is like, oh, shoot, who is this? Like, And she's like, yeah, where's Tariq at? And they're looking for Tariq. They don't know. And she's like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm Kane. I'm Kane. I'm Zeke's cousin. I don't know Tariq, but I'm Zeke's cousin, right? And she's like, oh, okay, so Monet's your mom, and where did they go? He's like, where did they go? She's like, I don't know. And yeah, I'm looking for him because we got to get this apartment. So Kane's like, oh, he's trying to move, right? So Brady's like, hey, listen, Kane, I'm going to lunch. Why don't you come with me? And basically, Lauren, if we find out anything, we'll give you a call. And Kane is like, really trying to holler. He's like, nah, how about you give me your number, and I'll let you know if I see him. This guy, man. I'll let you know if I see. I'll holler at you. And she's like, thanks, Braden. I'll talk with you later. So again, he trying to get in where he fit in. Kane is a funny dude, man. Look at this guy smirking, trying to mac. And Braden's like, yo, what the heck, man? What you trying to do, man? Like, you bugging. Right? So now we see Tariq, and he asks the estate lawyer to represent him for the hearing. So, he's kind of like, I don't know, but grandma did use the trust money, use Jazz's money, so I'll represent you. Okay? Now, you got Kane, and he's talking with Mecca. And he's like, man, I thought Monet was going to go off on Tariq, but she didn't. It kind of backfired. And Mecca's just like, yeah, for you to be going all out like this, basically Mecca kind of figured out that it was either him or, Tariq that took out Jabari Reynolds. And Kane is like, nah, I ain't say all that. Even though he knows that he did, right? So, Mecca's just like, listen, make sure that Tariq is not the number one person. Like, listen, I'm the guy with all the supply. If he doesn't get any product, he can't be the man. So you be the man and make sure that Monet doesn't pick Tariq over you, even if you have to force her hand. So he's thinking about a way. Kane is going to think about a way to do it. Now we see your boy Drew, and he's with Everett, and they're at the school, and they're hanging out, right? Doing whatever. And guess who shows up at the door? Get a knock at the door, and your boy Zeke comes through like, yo, what's going on? Da-da-da-da. And he sees Drew there. He's like, yo, Drew, what's going on? Right? So, they greet each other, whatever. And it looks like your boy Zeke changed his hair color. He's like, yeah, it's just my way of just kind of being free and not being controlled by Monet or by anybody. I just want to be free. I want to do my own thing and everything else like that. Right? So, they're chopping it up, and he's just happy to be back and want to play ball. So he's talking to Drew and talking, Everett and all of that. And then he says, hey, how do you guys know each other? Right? And the look on Everett's face, he's like, shoot, like, uh-oh. And of course, Drew comes up with a lie. He says, yeah, remember we was all at the club that night at the club when you almost got, shot in the leg and I saved you. He's like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Right? So, then Zeke leaves out and it's all good. He's like, all right, I'm glad to be back. Da-da-da-da. Your boy Everett is like, yo, you lie pretty quick. He's like, what, you want me to tell him the truth? You want me to tell him the truth? No, you don't want me to tell him the truth. So it is what it is. All right, so now we got your boy Tariq and Diana. He meets someone who's like, hey, she's like, okay, what's up? What's going on? And basically he wants to get some product behind Monet's back because he has to get money up for the apartment and everything else like that to get things ready. She wants to know, but he doesn't want to tell her, but he tells her anyway, right? And she's like, hey, listen, okay, if that's the case, I'll see what I can do, but I want something too. And, he's like, yeah, I would have asked Kane, but I don't trust Kane. And she's like, listen, I don't trust Kane either. So with all that being said, you find out something on Kane, find out who the connect is or whatever, and just whatever you find out on Kane, just let me know because I can't trust him. I can't trust him at all. So I'll ask him to give you supply and not to tell Monet about it, okay? So now they got a little behind the back deal on Monet going on right now, just so Tariq can get some money up to get the apartment, make the deposits, and do whatever else that he needs to do in order to get things ready. This is all for Yasmin. This is all to get Yasmin out of foster care. So Diana goes to your boy Kane, and she's like, hey, listen, he needs product. And he's like, why? I'm not doing anything until I find out why. So she tells him, like, yo, he needs to get money up for his sister so she can, get an apartment and everything else like that. And he's like, oh, that sounds like a him problem. It's not my problem. She's like, well, it's going to be your problem when I tell Monet that you added sugar to Rico's product just so you can get back in with us. And he's like, see, you acting like Monet, making up fake news. And she's like, well, if it's fake news, I'm going to tell her and let her decide if it's fake news or not. So, of course, he's like, all right. I'll supply it to him, but he has to come to pick up the supply. He has to come and pick up the supply. She's like, what? He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Look at Diana doing her thing, right? Really just strong arming Kane like that. You know what I'm saying? I like that. All right, now, here we go. We got Lauren and Kamal and Professor Milgram. And she's like, I don't want to wire anymore, but she's playing back the conversation she had with Lorenzo. And he's like, yeah, my name is, Lorenzo, whatever, right? And she's like, yeah, do you know him? He's like, nah, that was, Zeke's cousin Lorenzo. And he was just there when I was looking for Tariq. He was there looking for Zeke. So he's like, okay, boom. So Whitman jumps out of the room. He's like, listen, we got to get more aggressive. We're going to go live with it. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. And, Professor Milgram's like, nah, you have to do it. You have to do it. Like, we're getting real close to getting this done and over with. But you got to do it. And we got to make sure that you're good so you don't get messed up. So Whitman comes and says, hey, come on out of the room. So he looks up Lorenzo Tejada Jr., right? And he says, yeah, he got a rap sheet. We're going to look into him, right? So Kamal's like, look into him, but don't tell Sullivan, right? Of course he's going to tell Sullivan. But he's going to look into Lorenzo, a.k.a. Lorenzo Jr., a.k.a. Kane, right? So now we shoot over to Lorenzo. And Lorenzo's inside, and he's talking with Monet. And she's like, yeah, things worked out. They didn't charge Zeke. And he's like, yeah, it's all good. See, you just got to have faith, right? Just got to have faith. She's like, yeah, I guess I need to have faith, right? She's just like, yo, this guy's like doing nothing for me. So Lorenzo gets a call, and he's like, okay, who is this? And it's your boy, Saks Fifth Avenue, right? Saks is like, listen, your daughter hired me to kind of get you off. Can you talk? He's like, hold on 1 second. So he says, Monet, I got to take this call. And she's like, for real? You got to take this call? She's looking real suspect, like, yo, I'm your wife. You can't take the call right in front of me. He's like, yeah, I got to take this call, a.k.a. like, you got to leave. So she's like kind of in disbelief. She doesn't know what's going on, but it's kind of suspect, right? Kind of suspect. So she goes ahead and she leaves out, right? And then he gets on the phone with Saks and he's like, what's going on? I'll tell you anything that you need to know, right? So basically, he's probably going to snitch on some people just so he can get a deal. You know how this goes. He'll snitch on a couple folks just so he can get out early, get early release. Now, instead of Tariq showing up, Braden shows up to pick up the product on the low, right? And Kane is like, yo, I told Diana to tell Tariq he needs to be here by himself. And Braden's just like, yo, man, just like, let's just handle this, man. I got the money. Let's just handle it. Give me the product. And he keeps asking Braden questions like, yo, what does he need this for? Blah, 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 blah. And Braden's like, yo, I don't know. He doesn't tell me anything, right? Meanwhile, Tariq shows up on the side and he's thanking Lauren for her ride. So now he got a whip. That's what's up. Tariq finally got a whip. So your boy Kane leaves and Tariq follows Kane because he wants to find out where the plug is, right? So he follows Kane. He got that nice BMW X6 popping off. Lauren got the nice whip. So, of course, he follows Kane to the spot, right? To Mecca's spot. And he doesn't know what it is. So, Tariq parks, does a little undercover work. Kane goes to the door so he can get buzzed up, so he can bring the money to Mecca after releasing the product. So there goes Tariq taking pictures and everything. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his job and he's driving. And I want to know, how did you learn how to drive with no license, bro? Or maybe he had a license. We don't know. Remember, Tommy taught him how to drive, right? Tommy probably taught him how to drive. So we'll see we'll get the details on that. So now he sneaks up and your boy Nuff sees Tariq and hems him up. Like, yo, what you doing here? Hems him up. You got Kane and your boy, the chef, the assassin chef, looking like, yo, do you know him? He's like, Kane, do you know him? And Kane is like, nah, I don't know this cat. I don't know that cat, right? Of course he knows him, but he's not going to admit that. He's not going to do that because it's going to look like, yeah, he followed them there. And your boy Nuff is beating down Tariq, man. Tariq got to learn how to fight, man. For real. I mean, if you're going to be in the game, you got to learn how to defend yourself and fight, man. So, the chef is like, you sure? You sure you don't know him? Because, Nuff is not going to stop. So he's like, nah, I don't know. So he says, Nuff, let him go. Let him go. So he lets him go. He's like, get out of here. Man, Tariq runs back to the car. He is hurt up, man. He beat him down like serious. Beat him down so bad that Tariq rolled up on Monet's spot. Diana comes out like, oh, what happened to you? What happened to you? He's all messed up, leaking and everything, man. You got to learn how to fight, Tariq. Come on, man. Then your boy Drew and Everett shows up. They're like, what's going on? And, of course, Tariq sees that, yo, Drew is still, like, messing with that dude that mentioned the name that, that ratted. You know what I mean? So, of course, Everett's looking like, what's going on? So Tariq picked up on that, right? So now we back at Mecca's spot, and the chef is like, yeah, we thought it was Mahoney's boys or whatever, but Mahoney's boy wouldn't show up unarmed. Why would he show up like that? So Mecca's like, what's going on? And Nuff is like, yeah, I took care of it, man. So he's such a goon, right? Just an idiot goon. He's like, I took care of it, right? And he's like, you sure that wasn't Mahoney's peoples? Or whatever it was, I took care of it. But he did show up the same time Kane showed up. So now Nuff is trying to go after Kane on some like, yo, it's your fault dude showed up. And Kane is looking like, really? You trying to come after me like that? So Mecca's like, hey, did that really happen? Did he show up at the same time? He's like, yeah. It's like, do you know that cat? It's like, nah, I don't know that cat. Like, for real. Chef is looking at Mecca like, this is all suspect, right? So still, your boy Nuff is really trying to come at Kane on some like, yeah, man, sure it's not one of your little friends or whatever. And Kane is like, just looking at him like, yo, you better stop. Like, yo, don't even go there with me, for real. So Mecca's just like looking at Kane, and he's looking at Nuff, and he's like, hey, listen, tell me the truth. Do you know that cat? Do you know who that cat was? And of course, Kane is not going to tell the truth. He's going to be like, nah, I don't know who that cat was at all. Because if he does that, definitely he's going to look like he's not on top of his game. So Nuff is like, yo, okay, this is about to go down. He about to get beat down or something. So Kane is sticking with his word. He's sticking with the lie. He's like, I don't know this cat. So he's like, all right. And Nuff is like, that's it? You just going to take his word for it? And Mecca's like, listen, man, that's a civilian. If you knew that wasn't Mahoney's boy and you touched him, any attention from a civilian, that's trouble for us, right? That's exposing us. So he looks at the chef. The chef is waiting. And then Mecca gives him that blink, like just gives him the nod. Next thing you know, we are not going to see Nuff in the next episode. Your boy is now on ice, B. I told you the chef, man, he wasn't really a chef. He's an assassin for real. So Kane picks up, Tariq's phone, and he sees that Tariq has appointment, for the hearing for tomorrow for Yaz, right? Now we shoot over, and we see Davis Mclean with his brother. And they're inside, and they're talking. He's like, hey, listen, I'm trying to get you out. I got, Sacks, and he's going to help, with everything else like that. He's like, yo, I'm good inside. Reggie Noble's like, yo, I'm good inside, man. But, something can get out, man. Something can get out. And Davis McClain's like, listen, I'm going to do everything in my power to get you out. And his brother is like, listen, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you don't get inside here. You hear what I'm saying? So, of course, Davis McClain must have done something in the past that can definitely get him back, like pretty much in jail with his brother. But of course, he doesn't want that, so he's going to try to get his brother out as soon as possible. Now we got Tariq, and he goes to the apartment. He's trying to get to his apartment. Hopefully he gets the apartment, right? But he's running real late, ran into traffic, right? See, when you have a car, you ain't running no traffic, right? So the lady is looking at his face all bruised up, and she's like, yeah, the apartment's no longer available. Goodbye, right? And then she walks off, right? And she's like, what? Lauren's like, what's going on? What happened? Why are you so late? And what happened to your face? Are you okay? He's like, yeah, I got robbed, but I'm going to be okay. Of course, he lied about it. And he's like, listen, I'm messed up. I need this apartment like today, for the hearing to have everything together. And she's like, hey, listen, you know what? I may have something in mind for you. So they shoot over and she's in an apartment. Come to find out, that's Lauren's brother's apartment. And she's like, yeah, I would have gave it to you. I was going to give it to you a long time ago, but I know, it's hard for you to accept a little help. And he's like, you don't really have to do this. She's like, yeah, I know, but this is what's necessary. I definitely want you to be good. I want you to get your sister back, and you need this apartment. Here's the keys and everything. She got everything ready for him. She's really looking out for Tariq, man, which is dope. I mean, you want a girlfriend like that that's really gonna look out for you. I mean, and he's like, yo, doesn't he need the apartment? She's like, nah, he can't stay out of prison. So she got that Rolex on, still that wire on, and hugging him and all this and that. And on top of that, she not only does she give him the apartment, man, she makes sure he has like a lease agreement and everything for the courts. Like, she is so on point with helping him out. And of course, he's wide open now, right? So now that he's wide open, she's like, yeah, it's crazy because I heard, Jabari Reynolds had this novel and all this and that. And they said it might be Braden. I'm real concerned about Braden. And Tariq just falls right into it. He's like, nah, that novel's not about Braden. Jabari Reynolds, he don't write about white guys. And she's like, you sure? And he's like, yeah, it's not about Braden at all. So on the other end of the wire, you got Kamal, and Kamal is getting hyped. He's like, see, now we know he did know about that novel, right? And he's like, but still, like, it doesn't implicate him at all. He's like, yeah, it really doesn't. But, that gives us enough. That gives us enough because he admitted that he knew about the novel. And that gives a motive to take him out. So Whitman is like, yo, that doesn't do anything as far as an arrest. But of course, Kamal thinking this guy Kamal, he's a good detective. He's like, but it does give us the opportunity to go and search their dorm, right? Oh boy. So now Monet, she's at the crib and she is messaging Tariq to find out what's going on. Your boy Kane comes in with Tariq's phone and drops it. He's like, here you go. She's like, what's this? He's like, here you go. This is what you wanted. You wanted Tariq's phone, right? And he's basically like, listen, I know what you try to do. You try to find out who the connect was. You sent Tariq and everything else like that. And basically, I was thinking Tariq was the problem, but you're the problem. You don't trust me or nothing like that. And, it's like you're really the one that's trying to control everything, right? And they basically get into an argument because he's like, yo, listen, it's all about business for you. It's all about family and business. He's like, yo, I'm going to do whatever it takes to basically protect this family. And, Kane looks like he's just really having like the mother-son problem. Like, he wants to be accepted as the son. But she's just like, yo, like, we in business. We in this life now. You've been messing stuff up. And he's like, yo, am I your son or am I a soldier? Like, this gets real deep. And she's like, you're both. And he's like, that's the problem. That's the problem. But what kind of mother are you if I'm just a son or a soldier? You know what I mean? Like, again, she wants to control everything. And he's basically like, yo, you're messing up everything. Like, I thought I was the problem. I thought Tariq was the problem. You're the problem. So they basically have their beef with each other. And he's like, listen, just make sure Tariq gets his phone. You tried it. Don't try it again, basically, to try to get information, So your boy Tariq, it's almost 3 o'clock, right? Almost 3 p.m. And Monet shows up because she knows his appointment. She's like, get in the car. It's like, man. So he's like, dang, I don't got time for this. I gotta go get my sister. So he jumps in the car and he's like, listen, I can't talk to you right now. She got the strap on her lap. Of course she's getting in. She locks the doors. She's like, listen, you messed up. You messed up. You told Kane that I sent you. And he's like, I didn't. Basically I followed him and, somebody, beat me up or whatever. And she's like, you didn't call me? You didn't call me to tell me that? Now, of course, he couldn't call because they took his phone, Monet. Come on. You know that. So she's like, you know what? You almost got Zeke locked up. So this is the karma. This is what's coming back on you. You're not going to get your sister at all. And you're going to sit here with me until the time is up and you're going to lose her. That's the repercussions of lying to me. That's the repercussions of everything. This is karma, basically. You're not going anywhere. She got the strap on the lap, so he's not moving, right? So he's just sitting there. It's almost 3 o'clock, and he's thinking and he's thinking. And of course, Tariq, he comes up with everything. She's like, now you know who's in control, right? So he says, you know what? You're wrong. You're not in control. You don't even know what's going on. You're on an island and you don't know what's going on. And then he proceeds to break it down. He says, you know what? That's why Kane put sugar in Rico's product. You don't know about that. How about you don't know Drew was still messing with the guy that mentioned everybody's name on campus? And you don't know that Diana pretty much took the money out the safe at your bar. Ah, man. So he's like, you need me. You know what I'm saying? You need me because you don't really know what's going on. And of course, when Monet, she closes her eyes. She's like, got me. You got me. Right? Every time she closes her eyes, she's like, listen, so what are we going to do? Like, I got things to do. I got to go get my sister. So, of course, she can't hold him there because he just gave her all information that she wanted to know and told her who the name of the plug was as well. Right? So she's like, go ahead. She had to let him go. So now Tariq shows up. The lawyer's there. They're like, okay, you're pretty late. So, of course, the judge is like, listen, why am I going to grant him custody? It looks like he got into a brawl and this, that, and the third. And grandma's there, of course, and she's upset about what's going on. And, of course, his lawyers was like, hey, he has a different circumstance. He's actually, more responsible now than he has to be because of the family situation. And he's definitely stepping up. Here's all the documentation, the apartment, all the legal documents that you need. And he's stepping up as a young man to take care of his sister. And by the way, his grandmother used the trust money for buying booze. So he rats her out right there on the spot. Right. And she's just like, he's a kid. He can't raise a child. He's already a kid. And of course, Tariq is just sitting there like, man, this is real sad. So he gets up, he says, listen, I really just want to take care of my family. I've done everything that I needed to do to get everything in place. I'm more than able and stable to take care of her, and everything else like that. But of course, she's like, well, I don't know, listen. And grandma gets up and says that, listen, he's a boy. Like, how's he really going to take care of a child? He's a child himself. And basically, Tariq is like, listen, I love my grandma. And the judge asked grandma, hey, are you in a program to rehabilitate yourself? She's like, no, but I prayed on it. And Tariq goes in, man. He really knows what he's doing. He is definitely his son of his father, like, for real. He's like, listen, I love my grandmother. I'll pay for her to go through rehabilitation. Right now, she's just not in the best interest of Yasmin, but I'm more than stable and more than able to take care of Yasmin, right? So the judge is like, listen, I'm going to grant you temporary custody, but if anything goes wrong, if you mess up one time, I'm going to send her back to the foster care. Of course, grandma is upset about all of that, but she has to get clean. She has to get clean. So the judge grants Tariq custody of Yasmin. Y'all thought grandma was going to get it? No. Tariq now has custody of Yasmin. And yes, grandma is not happy about it at all, but she has to get clean, period. She has to get clean. Okay, so now we got the cops and Detective Kamal. They're looking through the drawers. They obviously was able to get into the dorm room to search the dorm room, right? So the dean is there. He's like, listen, if you can't find anything, you guys got to vacate, like, right now. So the cop is like, nah, there's nothing. I don't see anything and everything else like that. Kamal is like, man, forget you, Dean. Let me keep looking. So he keeps looking, and he's looking in Tariq's drawer. And he looks in that bottom drawer, that same bottom drawer that Kane was in. And look at his face. He's like, got him. We got him. And he picks out Ramirez's badge in the bottom of the drawer. Right? Crazy. Okay, so now Monet, she's with Dante, right? Not Mecca. She's with Dante. And she's like, yeah, I thought I was leading the children down the right path. They don't trust me. They don't trust each other. It's just not the way to go. And Mecca's just like, So what you want to do? Like he's like, I'm waiting. What you want to do? Maybe we need a fresh start. And she's like, you know what? Maybe I need a fresh start, right? You know what happens again with Monet? She closed her eyes like that. Of course, Mecca's like, listen, I got you whatever you need. You made the right choice. I want to meet my son. She's like, you know what? We're going to make that happen. Just not now. Just eventually we will. So, of course, they starts the kissing. And she is kissing this man with that wedding ring on her finger. And again, she wants a fresh start. She wants to start all over with Dante, right? So now we got Tariq, and he is got Yasmin. He got, all of that. And he's excited. They see each other. They hug each other. He's like, listen, I told you I was going to do this. Now you can come home with me. Grandma loves you. She just needs to get clean right now. Let me get the apartment situated, and then I'm going to come get you. She's like, okay, I trust you. I trust you, Tariq. I trust you. He's like, yeah, you should. You should. So it's all good. We can finally get Yasmin out of foster care, right? That's how it looks right now. But your boy Tariq runs back to the campus, right? So he's excited. He's happy, but the cops are all over the place. Man, what is going on? He's looking around like, what's happening? He sees Brayden, and Brayden's like, nah, don't even come and talk to me, man. Like, don't even do it. Like, don't do it. And he says, turn around. And it's Kamal and the cops, and like, you're arrested for the murder of Ramirez and Jabari Reynolds. They put him in handcuffs, and here comes the walk of shame, walking him across the campus. Of course, Lauren, she's like, Tariq, and, Milgram's like, let him go. This is what he deserves. This is the karma that he deserves, right? Crazy. But she knows the truth, and she's the one that put it all together. After she read that novel, she put it all together. Tariq is like, what is going on? Lauren doesn't even know that she's the one that really set him up with that wire. Like, she has no idea, no clue as to him admitting that he knew about the novel. And they walking this boy across campus, man. It's just a shame, right? Brayden is looking like, dang, man. But again, he knows what's going on because he dug up the body with Kane. So he knows exactly what's going on. Like, all his closest people pretty much kind of set him up to take this fall, right? Including Kane. He's not the closest, but Kane really set him up and dropped that badge in there. And look at your boy Tate, Rashad Tate, almost got a smirk on his face to see Tariq in handcuffs. Man, it's not looking good for Tariq right now. And they taking him in. All the arrows are leading to Tariq because of that badge being in his desk that was planted by Kane. And he has to figure out how to prove himself innocent. Of course, he sees Zeke and his boys on the way out. And Zeke is like, man, like, really? Are you taking the fall? He knows that his family has something to do with it. He already knows. Mclean gets the phone call, and he's like, what? Of course, he's like, taxi, taxi. Now he has to run down to the holding cell to try to get Tariq out. Of course, Tariq's estate lawyer shows up, and he's like, all right, sit down. And yeah, he has something to give Tariq. And he gives him this envelope, this manila envelope. And Tariq is like, what is this? He's like, well, your father wanted me to give this to you in case you got locked up for homicide. So now he's in the cell, right? Sad old Tariq. He opens up this envelope, and it's a letter from his dad. Watch this, family. This is crazy. And he reads the letter. And what does it say? It says, I knew you would be in here alone, where you belong. Man, that dude, James St. Patrick, is cold. He said, I knew you'd be here all alone. Wow. Now we got Monet. She's going back to the house. She's about to get on her kids because Tariq told her everything, right? She's going in there. She's about to whip their butts and the whole nine. But she hears a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of Spanish. You know, people talking in Spanish, like, what is going on? She hears a familiar voice and she rolls in like, what is going on in here, right? They're not watching Telemundo. What's going on? And the look on her face, she walks in the door. Guess who's home? Poppy is home. Poppy's home with the kids. And look at the look on her face. Man, it's priceless. She's like, oh my God. She just came from seeing Becca. And he's like, Mommy, I'm home. Daddy's home. Poppy's home, Mommy. And Monet is shocked out of her mind. She's like, whoa, I was not expecting this. Of course, Diana's not saying anything. She's catching the vibe. You know, she's the one that took the money to get him out. But she doesn't know that. Of course, she's going to smile. Of course, she's going to hug him. He's going to try to kiss her and everything. And it's not looking good. Like, she's really not pulling it off at all. And they're like, Mom, why didn't you tell us that he was getting out? And she was like, oh, is that why you was acting strange? Yeah, you know, that's what I was acting strange. Yeah, I didn't want to spoil the surprise. Meanwhile, she is highly surprised as to what is going on. Lorenzo has no idea that she just came from seeing Dante. I mean, look at her face. She is trying to play it off. Like, yeah, I knew this was happening. Yeah, it was surprising you. Kane is like, okay, really? Really? You surprising us? Mm-hmm. All right. And Diana's like, yeah, I'm reading something here. Something is off right here. Diana's reading it off. She's like, yeah, she doesn't seem that happy. She should be happy like us. And of course, Lorenzo, he has no clue. But look at Monet's face. She's like, talk about bad timing. Yeah, this is definitely bad timing, fam. Like, she's like, man, I wanted a new life. Wanted to start it with Dante. He was going to set up the trust and everything. And now Lorenzo is out. She does not look happy at all. Wow. And that is the recap for episode 5, the mid-season finale for Power Book 2 Ghost. I know, family, there's a lot of details, I know, but it was well worth it all. It was well worth doing this recap. Definitely give me your thoughts, your opinions, and everything. Drop them down in the comment box below. Definitely share if you're loving this recap. Absolutely. Let your friends know. Let your family know. You know what it is, family. And you know what it is. It's your man, VACAY-J. I'm out. Until next time, salute.